Andrea, you seem agitated. Andrea, you got something to say on that or something?
Yeah, this is no shade, and this is not to anybody in particular. I just think that,
I
well,
was
first of all,
expecting that too, but okay.
one comment that you made earlier, you mentioned Kevin Samuels. I don't think he fits into this conversation because I personally think that Kevin Samuels was a terrorist. Secondly, as far as it is pretending upon being tactful, I think that whether you're a woman or a male, like I think that being tactful is something that we talk about, but it's really something that depending upon people's lifestyles and whether or not we feel like they deserve our approval, we have something to say that may not be tactful. Like when we talk about trans people, when we talk about homosexuality, when we talk about people who may involve themselves in sex work, we don't tend to be very tactful when it comes to discussing those type of conversations and those type of topics when it comes to people who we feel like don't deserve our respect or don't deserve our acknowledgement. So, I mean, I just have to speak to the hypocrisy. No shade, and it's not to anybody in particular. I'm just saying, just as a whole, as a group, as people in general, whether you're black, white, male, or female, I think being tactful, we tend to, in our minds, warp reality to where we feel like a person is deserving of tact or not. And I don't think that that's true to what the actual word tact means. And I'm complete.
You said Kevin Samuels was careless. Can you elaborate on that just a
I
little
said
bit?
I said he
She
was
said terrorist.
He was who?
He was a terrorist. Yes,
He was a terrorist?
a terrorist. Yes.
Why do you feel like that, Andrea?
I feel like his message was not about self-love. His message to me was about hate. His message was about talking down and being condescending to other people. And overall, I just think that he was a terrorist. And I feel like anybody who listens to his message, I mean, you have the guy, for example, who, subscribe to Kevin Samuels and other men who, have those similar platforms who shot up a subway station. So I think that his message was very terroristic when it came to women, especially.
I don't think everybody thinks that about Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, that's a wild take.
So I think that I think what she said. So we can agree that some of the things that Kevin Samuels said that were true, right? We can disagree with a lot of the things. It was just the delivery sometimes was came off a little different. Could have been delivered a little bit better, more tactful. Even though he was very conservative and he spoke with it, still it's just the way it was said that you could have said the same message just a little bit different, and that's to women and men, because I saw him being that way to a guy too who called him. And I was like, oh, it's feelings.
I think people receive information differently, and that's okay. I don't think we're here to coerce anybody over to how we think, and I think that's the beauty of what a panel is, right? We all come from different perspectives. I didn't receive his information or what he said that way, and I watch Kevin Samuels faithfully. But I mean, I think it depends on how people talk to you in your life, like what you're exposed to. If you grew up like with coaches and different things like that, he kind of came off like a coach, like a basketball coach or a football coach talking to his team. And that's how he dealt with, his audience. Like, hey, this is what it is. This is what I expect of you. And he always seemed to have a way of letting you know his intention at the same time of presenting whatever that said message is. Yes, it was some nuance of some entertainment there. Okay, like he was hot, so of course he was doing something for entertainment and shock value, like a Wendy Williams, like a what's your boy with the Howard Steiner or whatever. There's some shock value there, but overall, I like his message.
So I think that. So I just want to clarify. I like Kevin Samuels too, but I'm just calling out the delivery, right? I say the same thing about Wendy Williams. I like Wendy Williams, but there's some, we can't argue that the like there's some things that she could have just said a little bit different to, but I get it. It's all about, like you said, the wow factor. But that's not the argument here. It has nothing to do with me liking Kevin Samuels. Like I said, I agree with most of the stuff that came out of his mouth. But if I look at just the way he said it, it could have been said better. Because if I say that to one of your students in my class, one of your kids in my classroom who are an adult age at 18, I'll probably be fired, right? So it's just about the delivery,
Well, Well, regarding him, right? I think I would say after his first video went viral, right? I did actually go and watch all his previous videos, and I started watching them on a weekly basis, right? And he was extremely entertaining, not gonna lie. But if you watch his videos in totality, he was actually very tactful.
When you tell somebody they dick not big, like you must got small. That's not tactful.
No, but let me finish. When he got candid was only when people got candid with him.
Okay.
So even with the lady who his most viral video was the "You Gonna Die Alone" video, right? She got candid with him regarding her situation and what she liked and what she disliked, and he got really candid with her. But when you there's videos where he talked to people who were victims of SA and grape and things like that, and he was extremely tactful in navigating those conversations. He talked to women that have had mother issues, and like when you actually listen to how, because what happens is you clip up somebody, you can make them sound any old kind of way. But when you actually watch the full broadcast of any of us, because you can clip any of us on this panel and we might have said some wild shit, and without context, it can mean a lot of different things. So with him, I watched his shows in totality because that's, you know what I mean? When you have an opinion on somebody, you might want to get them the chance of watching the show that we're talking about. And throughout that show, he was tactful with a lot of different people, but he always said, as a coach, he matches the energy of the person he's speaking to. So he can mirror back to them what they're doing. So they can see what they're doing through him. So if if a person on the call with him was like, "You being a real asshole right now," he said, "What do you think that means about you?"
So I actually believe that Kevin Samuels was a terrorist. I believe that his message was to promote hate against women, and it promotes men to be able to attack women emotionally by talking about their appearance. I feel like he made a pattern of attacking women as far as desirability was concerned. I feel like he attacked women based on their value, whether they had kids or not. I think that he was a terrorist, and I think his message was very dangerous for women. And I think that was a reason why once he, transition, a lot of people kind of like celebrated, almost like it was kind of like Saddam Hussein or something like that. Like people felt liberated because he was very terroristic to women.
You know what I find interesting? Every woman that has tried to coach women after him have essentially turned into Kevin Samuels. Every last one of them. Kendra G tried to started trying to help women date. A lot of women who've tried the Pineapple Show, all of them eventually start saying the same shit that he was saying. And that's across the board. Go to any show where women are trying to date or figure out what their problem is with the opposite sex, and every last one of them start saying the same shit that he said.
And a lot of men say a lot of the toxic things that he said. I think he was like 90% good soup and 10% toxicity.
And I think we focus in on the toxicity.
And they don't watch. I think the men weren't watching the whole show because they just focus on those clips. And not what I think is that it's the result of it. How men start talking to women, like they became more disrespectful. And we feel that in our real lives. If I'm in an Uber and somebody's like, "Yeah, you gonna go 50-50, you gonna let me cheat," like this was happening in real life. So yes, I understand you guys were winning for a while and everything, and that was great. And y'all do deserve that because women have been treating y'all wrong, and I got a totally different perspective. However, these guys get real aggressive, they real broke, and they think they can do what high value men can do, and it's confusing. And that's the issue with them. So I like the show. I learned a lot from it, but like that little bit of poison, it just kind of threw our community off.
Give us an example of something Kevin Samuels said that was toxic.
He encouraged a woman to not believe her daughter when she said that she was sexually assaulted by her husband.
That is not what he said.
That is exactly what he said.
It's not.
Ruth, can you give us an example? Can you give us an example of what you?
If you had sex already, you should just give it away for free. Like if a woman did that in real life, you guys will not judge her by all of the bodies that she started racking up after that point of that conversation. You would judge her even more. If she was at 10 and she went to 40, you would look at her totally different. So yes, women in real life we are really influenced by what men say. And so you can have lower self-esteem. watching Kevin Samuels. It happened to me, so I know. But it doesn't mean that you can learn. But you got to be careful. You got to not be easily manipulated. You got to know what's for the show and what's real life and what you can bring that's positive and leave the negative.
Ruth, did you watch that show when he said that? Did you watch the show in its entirety?
So
I watch a lot of shows in the
Oh,
entirety.
wait. That specific show, when he said you need to be giving that away, did you actually watch the show, that specific one?
I don't remember which is specific.
Well, in that show, she was talking about how, I believe she was saying that she needed a man that made a ridiculous amount of money, and that she was talking about how she wanted to wait to get married first. And she had already had children, and she was like 40 some years old. And he was like, at your age, you're trying to gatekeep sex to these type of men that you want. You got these, you got level of men that you want, and you're trying to gatekeep sex. He was being facetious, but he was like, you need to be giving that thing away. You over here with these high standards.
People are not as smart as you guys giving them credit.
Exactly. You guys are taking this like men think like you guys.
They're really slow.
Sweeney, you don't deal with guys on a date, so you can't. You dated a guy, so I see what she's saying. Real fast.
Well, you deal with guys, Sweeney?
Let's just hear it out, okay?
Sweeney said he deal with guys.
Get an average man and stop promoting the high value man.
Camera.
I find it real funny that every time y'all make money, then all of a sudden y'all want to promote high value men all day. Y'all don't talk about average no more. Y'all don't talk about being broke no more. That's why you need to get with a man like me, so you can have all the women to sleep with. But it affects the women in the community.
So go ahead, Sweeney.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Y'all have to understand the people that were calling into his show.
We do.
So if you understand the people that were calling in, then you have to, on top of that, understand the message he was delivering. If you get a bunch of people that come in with the most wild expectations, with the most absurd thought process, you're gonna get somebody who says like, that sounds like bullshit, and if that's what you want, here's what it looks like. So just because, and the thing is, we try to fault him for the way that men behave or mistake his message. I would bet my bottom dollar, if he was alive today, half the shit that he hear people say, he would go out his way to say that's bullshit. And I'm talking about men, the men that y'all are complaining about, the one that you said in that cab. I guarantee you, Kevin Samuels would have said that dude is full of shit. Because that's what he did. I remember an episode where a dude came on his show and said, black women are my enemy. And he tore that fool to shreds. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. So I get that there's an effect where men have come out, and there's been men that came out and said some wild shit. But goddamn it, we got the sprinkle lady on the other side, and we've seen plenty of women come out saying wild shit behind her.
We don't stand with her.
Y'all don't, but it don't mean that the women don't exist. Just like we can't say that the men that you're talking about.
You see the effect of it. It's hurting our community.
So look, let me say something.
Real quick.